E and F then, right? Because that's two things, personnel and.
No, the personnel is closed session.
Which closed session goes
Before adjournment.
before adjournment.
So that's not for the HRC.
Okay. Alright, so does anybody
It basically means I have to leave.
does anybody have a motion on the agenda?
Move to approve. Move to approve as amended.
Alright.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. I was just gonna suggest, Andrew, you put the motions down,
Yes.
because that's something you missed, I think, in the minutes.
So are we voting?
Oh, crap, yeah, I have been missing the motions.
That would be kind of important.
We'll get to that when we do the minutes.
Alright,
Alright.
so I haven't heard more than like one person vote.
I voted.
Right, yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, all those in favor?
I heard one aye.
Signal by aye.
Okay, two ayes.
Everybody.
Aye, space out.
Nay, signify.
Denise doesn't know what we're voting.
Oh, yes.
And Andy's just set up yet, so.
But it's recorded after this, right?
Agenda.
Elaine's actually recording because you weren't here.
I just thought it would be nice if people knew what we were voting on, since I heard like two people voting, so.
That was Mark and Vicky, right?
Correct.
So did we vote unanimously?
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Alright, approval of minutes. Let's start first with the closed session from January 9th.
Don't we have public participation before approval of minutes? Or should that be changed until after?
Traditionally, we do.
According to the agenda,
Public
we do.
participation is now.
Okay, public participation. I just went under stuff, so we can have anybody.
Well, Ed is,
Oh, and
I noticed that there's a comment section at the
Sorry,
end of
didn't
the
see you
meeting,
call.
so-
There's actually two though. So like one's about,
One's for the
about what we're
board.
talking about, and then one's I think just maybe.
Well, I was just gonna ask, for my concern for this organization in general, what is the status of fundraising with this organization? Because it concerns me that I don't see that much, I don't hear that much from the staff about the station about concerning fundraising. It concerns me that there should be a steady form of income coming to the station. Maybe I'm just unaware of what's going on behind the scenes.
We ended up with a positive balance of $62 and change from our last year. Is that right?
Wow.
So we were not in the red.
So I'm glad to hear that, because I've been here for some time now. We've had negative balances the last couple of years.
And there are quite a few different fundraisers going on.
Yeah.
This
No,
is a
wait,
public
wait,
participation,
wait.
it's not a discussion.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
I
Alright.
apologize. No, I apologize, I'm sorry.
No, you can ask, we just.
I was just concerned.
Do you have anything else to say?
I'll leave it at that, not for now.
Okay, there's
All right.
another two.
I was concerned.
Alright, so approval of, now approval of minutes, closed session from January 9th. Hearing none.
going once?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Alright, open session, January 30th.
Yeah, just a general comment that I think we need to have, information in there of who made motions and who seconded them.
I'm going to start getting on that.
That's fine.
Not used to that format, I guess.
Sure.
Well, one good thing about the video is that you can actually go back and check if you don't have it recorded, so.
If you could recognize people's voices.
True.
Problem.
Or read lips.
It's not a video.
I don't think we have video.
Okay,
Oh, it's just
so
audio.
on that, okay, on approving the agenda was the minutes for a closed session 1/9/17, it was Jermaine Menton.
Wait, what? I didn't
Motion
do
to,
anything.
oh, my bad. Did anyone make that motion?
To do which?
To approve the minutes.
I moved, Vicky second.
Yeah,
Okay,
I haven't seconded anything on that.
okay, so that was for the minutes, so same as the amended agenda.
I'd like to move that we approve the minutes with the note of added information.
Alright, do we have a second?
Second.
Alright, all's in favor, say aye.
I'm,
All's opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Approval of minutes from, okay, reports.
Does everybody have a copy of the treasurer's report?
Thank you.
Not the one that was in the packet. Yes? No?
Got it.
That was open session for 1:19:7.
I think I have, I got it.
No, the second set was open session for the president.
1:30.
Alright. So revised January treasurer's report, we need to approve. That was
Do we
in the
need to
packet.
hear about it first?
No, you don't need to reprove it. We didn't have a January treasurer's report really. I thought that was how it was, well, anyway, it was the tentative one. Okay, so the report is written out there. Last month, the P&L reflected a year-to-date loss of $4,500. That figure was incorrect, and year-to-date profit of $62.27 is accurate. This was an accounting error that was happening cumulatively since October. When some items were entered into QuickBooks, they reflected on the date that they were entered, and then again on the date they cleared the bank as well. So there were more expenses being recorded in some categories in which bills were paid in this specific manner, and that has been rectified. Lainey and Jason worked on it again today to finish changing those, right, Lainey?
Yes.
There was also earned income. We received a $3,000 commitment from a supporter, that is a business supporter, that's, for the record, that's Phoenix Botanicals. And that was entered as income in October because we use an accrual system, even though we don't get it, whenever we invoice it, that's when it goes on the books. It went
We
on,
all get accrual, I think, confusing, but.
yeah. Well, there was another way it could have been done. We could have just invoiced them $250 a month and entered it in $250 a month, but we didn't. It showed up as money that we have in, not in the bank, but that will be invoiced, and hopefully it'll all come through. But in the meantime, it was the $250 that we were getting was also entered in as income. So we entered the $3,000 in and the $250 in. So there was
Only one 250. Right. So one payment.
only one. The other ones were. We only received one?
No, only one was put in that way. Because they've done I think a December and a January. So I think
Because when I clicked on the invoice of
Right.
3,000, it didn't show anything paid
Right.
against it
Right,
this morning before
Right.
we worked on it.
okay, I don't know, I kind of remember too far,
Okay.
but they're all fine now.
Okay. So if you look at the second page there, that was Lainey made the corrections in QuickBooks. And then I went back and compared what I thought we had as an expense and where the differences were. So in October, you guys really don't have to follow this that much, but the utilities were, expenses last reported was $2,700 and the actual expense was $1,808, so the difference was $902.29, and I added all those up and double checked them with our profit and loss. And I was $6 off, and I did not go back and find it. So we might be $6 off one way or the other, but that's in January. I just couldn't find it, but, so that's just really my documentation of where those mistakes were month by month. Some of them were October, some of them November, some of them December, some of them January, and those are the areas they were wrong in. So that's that.
Sounds like a lot of work.
That was my day. And then, the profit and loss is next, and here you have, October, November, December, and January with those current, true figures. And then the page 3 and 4 is the year-to-date, so then if you would add up October, November, December, and January, you would get the year-to-date totals that are on what's called page 3 and 4 of the profit and loss there. And that's where on page 4, you'll see the final total of the $62.20. Hey, I'm pretty happy about it.
And I think we should give Sandra a round of applause.
And Lainey,
because
we're
this
both
is
working on it.
because this is-
No, thank you, but,
I have a question
Yes.
for you. Is there a way that in the next report that we could see this compared to the budget,
Yes, yes,
so that would be helpful, I think.
yeah.
Does that make us the only governing body this year to balance our budget, or?
Well, ouch.
Well, what I'm thinking is, if we're fundraising, that would be something, we're doing a better job.
Illinois, yeah.
There's a low bar there.
Yeah.
Before we
The
go,
difference is we
Wait,
have
wait.
a budget.
Yeah.
So, do keep in mind that last line there, do keep in mind that with this the $10,000 gift that is specific for the station assistant salary, which is still to be paid out in February, March, and April. So, that's not like, we've got that $10,000 in and we haven't used the expenses for that and they're coming, so it's not, it's still good news, and, does make me feel hopeful. And I pray to God it's right. I do. I will keep looking at it and not let it go again without looking at it closely, really regularly. I was leery about the other reports because I could see that we had more money in the bank than I thought we should have. With how much, it's like, if we're losing that much money, how do we still have $30,000 in the bank? If we've lost 5,000, and so this makes more sense to me. And it also just does give me.
If I may, I'm just glad to see that money earmarked for something is being used for what it was earmarked for, because I know in the past that's been debated, and I think it's good to.
So on the balance sheet, you can see that we do have, $10,000 in our, checking account. We still have $29,000 in our PNC market account. This is at the end of January. So it's not at the end of February, this is at the end of January. And Lainey, that seems pretty accurate to you, right? When you think about how much money we have in the bank right now, you look at the bank checking account. The balance sheet on page 1 of the balance sheet, which is like the second to last page.
Yes.
Page 1.
Oh, end of January, yes.
How much money we have in the bank.
End of January, yes.
Right.
Mhm.
And you don't take money out of the money market without checking with the board.
No.
Right.
No, so that it was like 30 something and we took that out last time. That was the only time that's been done.
Thank you, by the way, for not taking money out without.
Nice
It's kind of really good.
Yeah, no, and so we've only done it, I think, we did it twice last fall to get us into, spring to get us into the spring pledge drive. And that was happening.
Right, so we made it to another pledge drive without having to take money out of the
All right.
money market, so
Yeah,
it is a big deal.
because I know, like, last spring pledge drive, the last month and a half, 2 months going into it, it was stressful, I was like, saying, we gotta pull money, we're broke, so.
Real quick, what should I put down as our net loss gain, et cetera, for this?
62.
You really don't have to, you just have to say they have to read the treasurer's report,
Fair enough.
when you say, for the minutes.
Okay.
Alright,
And then this is already a matter of public record, or do we have to approve it?
have to approve.
Okay.
I will motion to approve.
I think if we tell people they have to read it, we need to let them read it.
Second?
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Yes.
All those opposed, same? Ayes have it. Alright, committees. Executive committee did not meet in February, just scheduling conflicts and work and other things. Programming committee,
Okay, Gina is in Hawaii, so,
Nice.
the programming committee has got the day sheets done, we're just waiting for minor corrections for anybody to make notes on, so we can fix them.
I have a
And then-
correction, I'll let you know.
Then they'll be, laminated, and there'll be a single copy, so we won't have to have them done every week. There'll be a single copy, and you can check it off with laminated, and we can wipe them off and reuse those every week. And basically, the day sheets are just a way to let people know that this is what they're supposed to be doing. And the only reason we were having people check them off before was because people didn't seem to know what they were doing. And it's an important thing, so people will keep doing rotating underwriting and do it right. We're trying to get people to do the rotating underwriting right, but it's still a challenge. Because people don't mark down what underwriting they've played, or they don't mark down if they've played at all. And some people don't have rotating underwriting because they've got regular underwriting. And it's just something that we're working on. We've also filled slots, and we've started, there's reviewing shows on the 90-day whatever that we're supposed to, that says the standard operating procedure. We've got coming up at the next associates meeting, the approval of the air shifter standard operating procedure, which everybody's supposed to have looked at and made suggestions so we can correct it, but we've gotten very few suggestions. So if people don't like it, once we get it done and it's set and we've voted on it, and the associates have voted on it, and then the board has to vote on it, and then it will be set in stone as air shifter standard operating procedure, so people can use that as a training guide and a way to know what they're supposed to do, and there's no excuse. Because people will say, oh, well, I always did it this way, or I didn't know I was supposed to do
Can I
that.
ask,
and
what
there's
is,
no excuse.
what SOP are you voting on at the associates meeting?
The air shifter,
Instead of the contract.
right, because contract
Okay.
apparently seems nasty word, so.
So,
But the programming committee has gotten a lot more work done since Gina has been chair than it ever did when I was.
Yes.
Because it's great.
so, to build what Barb said, there's potential that it will not be a dry erase with a dry erase marker because there's some concerns over toxins. Gina and I are working through that together, and we'll figure it out, and it'll be fine.
What about the wax pencil?
Oh, that's a good idea, potentially.
Because you can remove, like, you
Yeah.
just rub it off or whatever.
Okay,
But
that's a good idea. So we'll look into that, so there's not
I
keys to that,
hadn't
so.
heard about the toxic.
So there's that. We also had a couple listener suggestions this
Yes.
this month, and so those are in there. They were about public affairs, pre-produced or syndicated programs. So we've started playing that one. Sprouts, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So we started playing that. They've been looking at Deutsche Welle replacements still because it's not been being produced that great.
But it is back to being better, and they do have
Yeah.
an update in the afternoon now
Yeah.
because of concerns.
Oh,
so.
good. Yeah. So Gina was saying that they were looking at that. There were a few shows that had to be critiqued or talked to this month. They got a letter. It's all documented. But one of them was excessive obscenities, I guess, in the evening. We talked about it briefly at the last board meeting. So that was taken care of. That was rectified. That's not going to happen anymore, hopefully. There's a plan in progress for that. And then there's another show which I emailed the executive board about. So we're working through that as well. But it was more of like a old show that they kept playing. And then Spinatron reporting's coming. Yeah.
Is that something we need to talk about tonight, or is that for another day?
That's up to the executive board. The email, I think I put you on it. Did
Well, I got it right
Yes.
before the meeting, and I didn't know if it
Okay.
needed to take up much of our time today.
No.
Yeah, so that's more of an update that it's happening. We're gonna have a meeting later, me and that air shifter, but I think everything else. They had the air shifter training that Mark and Vicki did. They did one day of like a marathon training. I heard it was great.
I'll give some
Okay, you'll do
information
that. Okay.
about that, so.
So
I
yeah,
know we're getting people in. We had somebody come to the programming committee meeting last one who looks like he's very interested. And we wanted to suggest that the
The
news,
progressive news.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you, produce a show for Sprouts, because that is about community radio.
Yeah, that's the second time I've heard Sprouts tonight, and I have no idea what it is.
It's a show about community radio.
On what?
I could send you a link to
It's a
it.
syndicated show.
Yeah, I could
Okay.
send you a
So
link to
they're
it.
not playing.
Yeah,
And it's new?
Yeah.
to what?
No, actually, it's not. I heard of Sprouts
Yeah.
years
I said
ago.
that web.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we added
We
it
used to
recently.
play.
Yes.
Yeah, and we told the listeners, we responded back and said, oh, thank you, that's great, we are playing it, catch it out these times, and they were really excited, so they're parents of U of I students who come to town.
And
And
then
say,
there's an economic show
Yeah.
that we're reviewing to
Yeah.
possibly add.
So the air shifter training, we had 16 people that came. 8 of them were on my list, and 8 of them were not. Although there were 16 people total on the list.
That's
So, that's typical WEFT.
That's funny.
Everybody has been scheduled for training, and they should be finishing up before the pledge drive starts on March 27th. And we have from that a connection with, if anybody's heard of Pizza Radio.
Yes.
from the university.
We all know that.
One of the guys that came through the training is from Pizza Radio, and he is wanting to bring that whole crew into WEFT to get training and to maybe do some other shows.
That's the same thing as Pizza FM?
Pizza FM,
Okay.
Pizza FM, exactly.
Some
So
of
that's
the,
pretty
Several
exciting.
yeah,
been
some of the
saying
new
that.
air shifters have already started subbing. If they finished it, they're starting to think they're new shows. They're really excited. So I think it was a great class. They were
Yeah, it
really
was
happy.
really a good class.
And
And
Zed, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They
They,
He,
Yeah.
came to the programming meeting.
Well, and
He's a
Dave,
go-getter.
Yeah,
he is a
definitely is.
go-getter, and he wants to chair the public relations committee. And by God, I would let him.
He's got all kinds of great ideas.
Gets, there's always lots of people that say, well, I'm willing to do it, but I don't wanna chair it.
He
Well,
said he wants to.
yeah, he wants to chair it, so get those people in with him, and I think you'd be all set.
he did come to the PR meeting that we had.
It just occurred to me, we're talking about the PR meeting, we're talking about the training, but I think Andy, Jermaine, Denise, and I may have been the only ones at the pizza party, because Blaney at the last minute had something come up, but, a number of the trainees were there, and I've already, heard, one of them subbing, so they seem to really be hitting the ground running as far
Yeah,
as,
very
They were a
enthusiastic.
great
presence at
crowd.
the stations. That's, we talk about how most of our new blood is just people coming back. These are actually new people that have not been involved before, and that's kind of exciting.
And I think that should be a testament to where WEFT is going, our
Yeah.
success so far. They're new faces, they're involved, they're looking to raise money, they're coming to committees, and that's everybody's work paying off. I think it's been a rough couple years maybe, but that's, I think, the fruition of your work coming. You should be proud.
Well, the other nice thing is we have a whole bunch of new trainers.
Yeah.
So, and not everybody got a trainee this time.
Right.
So that's really positive. I am thinking with the whole new group of trainers that maybe we could move the next airshifter training up a little bit so that we can get more people on board. I forwarded you the summary of evaluations from that training, and you'll see that there are a few people there who were old-time Wefties, long-time listeners.
When did that go out?
Just about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's why.
I just read my email and didn't see it.
Yeah, I just read it, yeah.
You just read it,
Got
okay.
it.
So I don't know how much valuable information is in there, but it was interesting. So there was an interesting group of people that, and as Lainey said, it was a double training because it was session 1 and session 2 all smashed together.
And I think
A
they like
large
that.
contingent of the people supporting the Grateful Dead show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's, hence the comment, too many deadheads in the room.
And if
Yeah.
I could just add one quick thing, I certainly am glad to see some people returning, because, for years we've heard people will come back if, we've heard, they don't always come back like they say they will, but, I remember just a few short years ago when we realized Jermaine and I were the two people who most effectively could blend in as undergraduates at Quad Day, which was awkward because I think we were both around 30 at the time. So, if we actually have people who could pass for at least grad students, the first time around,
We will up here and I'll get back to
we
you.
wouldn't look like the geriatrics organization that's filming a commercial for something on Quad Day instead of actually trying to get students involved.
That'd be great.
But I think that was everything that Gina had relayed for us to.
Alright.
I would like to discuss what you sent out to the executive committee in closed session. I think it's a
Okay.
personnel issue that needs to be discussed. It's
Um,
a liability issue.
Yes, I also want to add quickly about, Vicki mentioned Grateful Dead Hour. They are, I think, pretty close to being back. The slot that they used to fill with just Grateful Dead Hour, not the Grateful Dead Vault, I think is how it was split. I think it's still open. They've been working with me and Gina and Dave Watsani to come back. They're going to hold their own fundraising for it. Grateful Dead has not processed our payment from the last year, our last dues. And so I've talked to David Gans finally, and he said if we could void that and reissue it. So I asked our accountant, we can void it easily, but it's never crossed our bank either, so they said they don't know. But, so that's coming, but they are confident to cover the dues themselves this year.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, and David Gans did actually, I think, say that he could forego it to get it back on the air right away.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, yeah, so that's good news, and they're being really active. Grateful Dead cover bands, I guess as we call them, are hosting a lot of benefits around the area the last month or two, so.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
and they ever had a request, I would second it if it needs seconding.
Okay, no, it doesn't.
Okay.
Is it Nina? Hold on.
Financial development?
That's me,
Yeah.
been out of town.
Good.
Still trying to find anybody who's willing to, help with that.
Well, you live out of town, so that's.
Yeah, I was in Chicago.
Okay.
Community advisory?
Hold on the financial development, since we had a finance committee meeting and we sort of did talk about some things and then I did some action on it. Wanted to ask you if we could coordinate a time to meet with Danielle Chenoweth and Lainey, and she's got some ideas for us. She thinks that we have some possible ways of increasing our Illinois Arts Council grant. And she knows the contact person over at Springfield at that grant organization too.
Oh, good,
So-
okay, sure, yeah, just let me know what
We'll do that.
Alright.
Hey, Vice Mayor, I think that's pretty much on hold until next month. Andrew?
What?
Community advisory board.
It's pretty much on hold until next
Yeah.
month.
I told the people I did get a hold of, I'd keep them posted.
Andy, or Andrew, Bruce had somebody that might be really interested. I don't remember their name, but we talked about it. We talked about the person of getting them involved, and I thought that community advisory board might be a great option.
It wouldn't be Bruce P., would it?
No, I think it was a woman. It was Bruce Zimmerman had a woman. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a woman. Maybe
Okay.
not though. But
I should ask Bruce about Bruce P.
okay, is that a good story?
He was gonna come in here and save us.
Oh,
when he
okay,
got
so
those
maybe
places.
ask Bruce Zimmerman, whoever his person was, and then I'll ask Bruce about Bruce.
Yeah.
P.
One of the trainees introduced himself as the savior of the web.
Yeah.
We'll hold you to that.
Please.
This might be overrating
Andy,
his
we have
participation just a little
are you
bit.
on any of our smart sheets that we use?
Where,
Online?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, I'm gonna share a community partner smart sheet with you because there's a bunch of ideas for community, advisory boards on the community partner smart sheet down at the bottom, that list of names.
Okay, and I called you while you're on your honeymoon and then just totally forgot about it. I can't get into any of the smart sheets anymore.
I had to change, I was requested to change permissions,
Okay.
to chairs and to things like that, but I can,
Okay.
we can all rechange them to whichever ones you need or
Okay.
want, so. I wasn't sure
Did
what.
you put, is Gina on the smart sheet?
She is, but I don't think she's logged in to accept it yet, I don't think she's learned how to use it
Okay.
yet.
Human resources?
I've not done specifically much, but they had just asked me about contract forms, so, what,
We had-
standardized,
well, we
contract
had-
forms for positions.
Yeah, we had talked about it a little bit, just about like making contracts, like, yeah,
Just basically standard forms.
yeah. Sorry.
Okay, nominations?
There haven't been any,
We have a member
developments.
election coming up.
My committee members have not really given me much to work with, so,
We need to get nominated for renewal
for what?
Through member
member
election.
election.
So those letters should be coming out.
You do want to run again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you said you had no interest in a second term. Well, then we need to.
Officially
The letter
announcing.
still has to go out, though.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
certainly, okay, well, then we have a candidate, I did not know that.
Woo!
That makes my life easier.
Yeah, I just.
Should we put in
No, mine.
WWE like asking more members?
We do always send out a letter,
Right, but I didn't know if we should put like the WWE asking, hey member, like,
Mhm.
you wanna
oh,
run?
yeah, that would be good.
And
Okay.
then also,
Maybe-
I'm gonna announce it at the, associates meeting.
Okay. Todd, maybe if you could just type up something from the nominations committee.
Can I ask one thing?
Yeah.
I know the charting thing is starting in a week,
Uh-huh.
so if you could give me until, I'm spending the entire next week making sure I'm caught up, so.
Sure, yeah, whatever, as long as it's early enough that the members can see it.
Right.
If it were like 2 sentences to go in.
Sure, sure. I mean, honestly, sometime that you see me,
Okay.
if I'm not like hunched over deep in work,
Okay.
we could just work it out
Okay,
face to face.
yeah, that sounds perfect.
So, this is just for nominations, where's the list of when people's, terms expire?
I handed that
Yeah,
out
so,
Right, okay.
Although
a
that,
while ago.
technically, that's not, I think that's pretty separate from, recruiting candidates.
Okay, well, I was just confused then with the sign and I was.
And the last contact sheet I
Yeah,
gave
and
you,
then
it has the, who elected the person and when their term expires.
Right.
Okay, I guess I'm basically figuring out for the upcoming meeting, is there anyone that needs to do anything for that?
For the associates.
For the
meeting.
associates, yes.
Okay.
Mark and Barb's terms are both over this next month. So if, I know Mark is not planning on running again.
And I already put my note up on the board.
Was that for programming or for the board?
I thought that was oh,
Your term with the associates is up in March.
okay, so I need to.
Yeah, you need to be there.
Okay.
So we need to put it up on the board?
No.
No?
No,
No.
not with the
Okay.
associates.
Right,
So you
there
just have
was
to
some
be there.
confusion over email yesterday. Dave thought that associates had to post
Okay.
candidate statements, and nobody has ever proposed that as far
Okay.
as I know in the history of WEFT, because it's frankly.
You don't have to
So you just have to
propose
be
it.
there.
Okay.
You can't
It
shut
didn't go
down
anywhere.
flames, yeah.
Good.
So you just have to be there, Mark, if
Yes,
you wanna
the
rerun.
associates-
You too, Mark.
associates are a sovereign entity and, not bound by.
okay. So, finance committee, as I said, turned into more of a financial development committee meeting. We got Vicky on the phone, basically talked about grants. That was the main part of the discussion. Does anybody wanna throw anything else?
I don't have my notes from it, but we did make a list of priorities, but of how we should approach, financial development, but when we get together, I'll bring those with us and we'll go over those and see if we can
Sounds
get some
good.
priority with it.
Alright.
Is the intention to hire a pledge drive coordinator? No?
Do you want that, John, Mark?
Are we going to have board members serve in that role again, or is it, we're just gonna let it
Which role?
pledge drive coordinator?
I didn't know if that was a thing before.
It was the last pledge drive,
This last,
The
this
board
spring
members
one?
doing
the
it.
board members do it.
Right, right. So right,
You mean, you didn't know that hiring somebody was a thing before?
right,
A
right. I
long
just,
time ago, we
so,
did that.
right, so
Many
the board,
times.
so the board members, last time Vicky is like, when you did all the printing and prepping for that, right, and then Mark volunteering, and then Sandra volunteering, that's what we're talking about,
That's
okay,
what we're talking about.
okay. I just wasn't,
So,
we talked about staff not managing it at all. That was one of the ideas, is that, staff would not manage it at all, maybe a volunteer could step up and manage it. That wasn't like decided on, that was just something that was, suggested.
well,
by me.
you know, I think, I mean, we could talk about it quick. Back when we thought we had $4,000 less money than we have now, it seems completely out of the question to hire a pledge drive coordinator, and I don't know who could do it. I mean, I don't know who,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't know either.
it's
Yeah.
like you have to really have done pledge drive before to be able to do it.
Yeah, and so I'm a little nervous about even thinking about staff not having anything to do
Well, I
with
don't,
pledge drive because the whole thing is gonna
that's,
cave in
yeah.
and collapse.
I don't think we,
no, what we came up with actually was that I think they were recording all this, that,
Me too.
that I have a staff member at Elliott Counseling who works at our campus office, and she has time available because we have a slower office there, and she's a receptionist. And anyway, so Delaney's going to train her to do all the database entry for it and the QuickBooks entry for it. So that's going to at least take care of that part of it.
Mhm.
And then really Brian's going to have to step up to a lot of it. That's just how that's going to go. I mean, her and Brian have both been through a pledge drive now. This is their second one. But the thing that I have emphasized to her is that it does need to go smoothly, but we can't have her sacrificing her other work to do the pledge drive work, we have to move ahead with all the other stuff she has in the air, and so.
And Brian's there all day, every day, or most all day, every day, or some of them every day, and I think that he could probably keep track of whoever is doing stuff.
So the way that we function now, and the way that I would see pledge drive going is, I have to think about the details now, adding in Melissa, but having her make sure Brian is managing, make sure there's plenty.
Who's Melissa?
Melissa's the Elliot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's more borrowing.
Yeah. Making sure that, Brian has, us make sure the sheets are ready that we want to use, the letters, everything. Brian making sure the sheets are printed, they're coming in okay, helping answer questions, helping support volunteers that are there. Me making sure, if Brian has something he can't figure it out, then I figure it out. But Brian needs to be looking at it first. Interns helping him in that way. And then helping Melissa get everything into the database and manage getting invoices out, getting them back in, managing letters that come in, like pledge drive letters. Maybe being a team, but then maybe doing more of the hands-on and me managing it in addition to all the other things that we're doing to keep everything else going.
Where are we with the database right now?
So that was something we were going to talk about with Danielle a little bit, right? We talked about, or not really with her, but we talked about that a little bit, maybe switching still. We do have a free year with that Click and Pledge database that we used for Give Big. Melissa could probably be really helpful in transferring to the database over if we wanted to. I thought Sandra had mentioned you looked at it a little bit. I had looked at it a small amount and then pulled off of it. So,
is it functional for the pledge drive? Is DonorSnap functional for the pledge drive?
We can use it. It does not make life easier. It does not function easily, but it's usable.
You can't sort.
Right.
In any way that makes sense.
Right.
At all.
And even getting donations in online.
Database. It's an awful.
DonorSnap tells you that we currently have more than 3,000 people who have contributed in the last year. That's not true.
Right.
I mean, that's not even close to being
Great.
Just everything about it, it's very cantankerous. Like even
But what do you? So I get there's a big problem with it, but is it functional that we can use it to get through the pledge drive without trying to figure out our new? Are we gonna try to find a new way to get through pledge drive?
Right. Yeah, I mean, yes.
You're gonna have to have mailing labels. That's the thing.
So we've had the interns working through that, and I think that list is ready to go. Like they did some printing of it. So that's ready. We did 1,000 of the WEFT BoDs again, of like the top donors, latest donors in 2016, over $40 to reach to 1,000, like you said last time. But we also added to it the music department from U of I in Parkland, and everybody who had a public address. But yes, we can use DonorSnap. It is not ideal, but we can do it. It probably isn't ideal to switch databases right before pledge night.
Right, that's
So I mean, either way.
We've done that before.
We lost so much in this switch from
Right.
FileMaker
Well,
Pro to
this
DonorSnap
is
that-
one other piece of good news is that I looked I found the FileMaker Pro. We have the data from
Oh,
it.
yeah, I know where it is too. It's on that Google Drive folder as well.
Right, so my point was that can be exported to Excel. Once we get that exported and the DonorSnap exported.
The exporting from DonorSnap is the hard part.
It is, that's what took me 4 days.
Right.
Right, but anyway, so I think that the good news of it is that we don't have lost data. We have a mess, but we don't have lost data.
Right.
And it really does need to be a project that we figure out, and we can't expect Lainey really to do it on top of her job.
Right.
So we need to figure out a data, maybe that should be the next thing we look for is like a contract person to do database work for us to figure that out. That's a very good possibility.
Right. Or even, once we get through spring pledge drive, we can really spend some time evaluating them, comparing them, so we're not just like trying to get to our next winter mailing.
Right.
Okay. Station manager report?
So I have one typed in there for you guys. I think if everybody has a copy, let me get to it so I can remember. Sorry.
This month quickly took off with the necessarily submitted Illinois Arts Council final report. That
Sandra
Wendy and
found
I
it.
did.
So I have a copy of the, Arts Council report, if you guys wanna look at that. It was just a sample of the, here, you guys wanna, Denise, do you want me to pass it? Yeah, okay, I'll pass it down here to you guys. Sorry, so,
I probably need to pay attention
we
to
had
what's
a-
going on.
There you go, it's not
Thank you.
oh, it's not in here?
The Arts Council
So,
report.
no, it's not. So in the report, I just gave them away. And you'll see the first one, we had to submit like a budget, we had to
I think
submit,
I have it now.
yeah, you do. We had to submit a narrative. So that was our budget for last year. We had to submit a narrative, answer some questions, give some numbers of who we helped, how we helped, how many we helped, answer all those questions, and then provide some, printed materials. That is it, Todd. So there's the budget, the first thing, and then that's the narrative behind that and like all the questions we had to answer. And then we also, the back, had to provide like printed materials, just saying what we did this year. How did,
There's not your usual intro then.
No, it's a report, it's a summary.
this was a summary for for the Arts Council report.
No,
This
it's
isn't my
online.
I
report.
was looking for something else, sorry.
Okay, sorry, so this isn't my report, this is just something we
Okay,
did this
that's
year.
why I can't find it.
Yeah, sorry. So, so that was that. Sandra helped, restructure the narrative, so whenever we start applying to grants, you know, her and I have already put our heads together some to start working through that, so we think we have a strong foundation for, it should be at the back of the application, looks like it's right here. This is the narrative for that report, not for my report for the station. This is for the art council report.
Okay, but it's really questions.
They gave us questions that we had to answer in the narrative, so that's this section, the narrative section. The questions printed on there, so we had 1,000 words, so we didn't include the question. They knew the question.
What day did this come out?
Did I send it, are you asking what day I sent it to you?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know. Do
okay.
you want a paper copy?
Well, I don't think I got it as of this
I
morning.
might not have sent it to everybody.
Okay, cause there's stuff in here, I definitely, it's new to me and I thought I read all the paperwork.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have included the report, because I had to print it all, but I can forward that whole report.
Okay, thank you.
I really appreciate that, so I was gonna suggest that, since I worked on the Indian
Yeah.
Trail, there's a very long narrative, but it breaks parts.
Yeah,
Answer questions and stuff, so,
okay.
You worked on a grant for who?
for NIH preservation grant,
Did we get it?
no, but it's actually one of the things we've been trying to work on, we brought up in our board meetings. One of the great things about it is even if you don't get it, they have to explain to you why, and that's to work on. And so that was one thing that I would talk about, getting the support from both the community and the larger, community presence we build.
When does the next one come out?
That's a good question. I know last time I turned it in, I think it was July, so I'm assuming it's roughly then I can into it. I'm not sure they're still giving it out now.
Any age?
Yeah, it's NEH. I was looking for preservation grant because the library science
Sure.
to help with the, all our materials upstairs. But part of that would be an overall boom to the station because, for example, we don't have playback equipment for all this reels, but we have unique material up there. So if we could get rid of, basically, record what we need to from it, keep that, and then get rid of the rest and have more space to do stuff. So there's other measures there, which preservation things, for example, just storage, could also benefit the station in other ways.
Then we can preserve our building.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I had it, that's all on file, I know, at WEFT tonight, I know, Lori and I, she did, copy, I haven't seen her around. So I can go to the station and help dig it up. So I know there's answers to some of these questions too, and I thought maybe, it might also be useful to you when you're working on future ones, is maybe the way they pose something for that one, so our description, maybe works better than separated.
Sure.
Yeah,
So-
and once we get all that stuff, we'll keep us from reinventing the wheel.
So that was that. Another big project this month was compiling the associates list. So we have that, and I've emailed it, I think, to the entire board, but it was like right a month ago now. It was early in the month-ish. So on there it says how many meetings you've attended for the associates, if you're currently paid, when you paid last, your volunteer commitment, and if you have a show. So myself, Gina, and Mike worked on putting this together. The board offered some feedback as well to keep track of it. All the board members now are current on their dues, have attended associates meetings, and have a volunteer commitment.
Yay
Yeah.
for us.
Yes, I could ask just one question. Now that that's been, gone over,
Yeah.
who has access to that, just to make sure, like, random people don't start?
Well, so that's the thing. So I've reached out to Mike and I haven't gotten a response yet, so I haven't done it. Mike said there used to be a copy of something similar posted on the bulletin board so everybody could look at it. I did not post it because I didn't know if that was appropriate. I don't know. I didn't want to step on it.
The reason I ask is, I think we should definitely have a public list of who's an associate.
Right.
But I don't want some associate to be saying, you only paid $30,
Right.
when the paperwork is, I don't want it to turn into,
Right,
your
right.
schoolyard.
Right.
meetings,
So
but-
that's
But all the board members probably
Sure.
were.
So a good idea from that Gina, myself, and Mike had was that we could email everybody on there and say, these are the requirements of being an associate. These are the areas where you are not up to date or not current or upholding the right requirements.
I mainly don't want people, I don't want somebody finding out from like a sub that they're in trouble rather than
Right.
through more official
Right.
channels.
So we would send an individual email to each person. I've not heard back from Mike to do that, so I didn't proceed. I didn't want to be out of line.
Yeah.
And then, so it's available, so it's an Excel spreadsheet, so, maybe Jermaine or somebody could add it to that Google Drive that you guys have for the board, that way you guys always have a copy, heaven forbid something happens. You could start from that instead of having starting from scratch, but Mike has a copy, Gina has a copy, so we can use this continuing to move forward, it's really easy to use. You guys can look at it. There's a couple people that are highlighted for different reasons, but.
It's great work and immensely helpful,
Thank
so.
you, thank you. Let's see, we've talked about maybe changing the associates year from like March to into February. So that way it was more easily to track to know that, yes, you have until March to pay your dues each year. That way everybody's not kind of on their own year. And make sure they have a volunteer commitment within that year.
Just
So that-
one quick question about that. Anybody who say paid in April or May, they wouldn't get shorted, would they?
No, right,
Okay.
so we would look at it, make sure everybody was like, covered in,
Good.
so we did that, so I guess if we talk about spring pledge drive now, so we had a spring pledge drive and PR meeting, that overlapped because more people wanted to join and be in both. Excuse me, so that was really positive. We did move forward. I know from the last board meeting, we said, let the pledge drive committee talk about a drag show. That committee went ahead and voted to approve it. Since then, more people have become involved, but we did say that it would be WEFT appropriate. So whatever would be on the airwaves appropriate would be at the show. So it is music focused. They're performing, they're singing, they're, whatever. So Bob Allred is providing show pictures for them, so they're not getting paid, they're not taking a cut, so we aren't losing any money with that. C Street has offered facilities for it. I know that maybe C Street had some issues with the health district, or maybe they're closed right now, I don't know, but they're hopefully not gonna be closed. Yeah, so hopefully they'll be back and it'll be fine, but they don't charge we can't charge a cover charge for that day, but it would be past the bucket. We would have a table at the front to give money like right inside the door, but we also talked about saying, like we said, a member drive, and if we haven't reached our membership goals by that event or reached our first goal of $10,000 whatever, to really drive it that night to try and reach our goals. Maybe set an event for a goal, fundraise for that event. And then we talked about doing an art show, part of Boneyard Art Festival. So that weekend, it'll have a gallery at WEFT like we've done in the past. This year we have distributed packets are available for pickup with sheet music where you can make your art on that. And then we've asked artists to donate their work for proceeds to WEFT. So they can price it from $10 to $40. and buy it, and WEFT keeps that. There's gonna be no cost essentially associated for WEFT. If we're there, it would be volunteer time, so. We're gonna do a reception Friday night, is that right? Friday night, so it's Friday, I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so we're gonna do a reception on Friday, and have it displayed, have, acoustic music there, try and make it a nice event, and hopefully get some more donations as well. We talked about the pledge drive being also focused as a membership drive. So saying, instead of saying, Vicki, I want you to raise $200 yourself, really encourage that. We would say, Vicki, I want you to bring in five members, either new or renewed members. I think from my research that's easier for people to get a handle on and feel confident in, as opposed to saying you have to bring in this amount of money. So hopefully making that change will make it a little bit more successful this year. Also saying like, okay, we've raised $11,000 and we've had 40 donors, so there's knowing how many donors and how much money we've raised. So that was a big idea. Yes.
I know that in the past it's specified that if somebody is not a legal resident of Illinois, they're not eligible to run for office at WEFT. But is somebody able to be a member who does not have Illinois residency?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
think, yeah.
I knew they could pay $40.
Don't
I
say
just
to
didn't know.
anybody.
I just didn't know if they
Give
also
us
could be
money.
members.
For sure.
Some donate from overseas,
Yeah.
that would be weird.
So,
Well, I knew they could do that, just not be members.
So
but now I know.
the pledge drive committee also kind of played with the idea of saying, a goal for each active air shifter, active associate, to say, instead of saying 5 members or whatever number, say, 1 reoccurring member, or reoccurring donation, 1 new member, and 1 member renewal. So, it would give them more specific goals, but maybe be harder to reach. I don't know, the committee's deciding that, but you guys can certainly have input on it. And then, excuse me, so, I guess, is there any questions about that, and then we can do underwriting?
Well, I guess my question would be, we're not talking about like if the new trainees have a show, they'll lose their show if they don't have the.
No, but it was just a way to try and encourage success. There was an idea of putting up a chart with everybody's like show name and say like, oh, I reached my 4 members. There's a little competition, but not like you're getting kicked out of WEFT competition.
So soft goals.
Yeah, soft
Yes,
goals.
yes.
As long as we're motivating people and not terrifying
Right.
them.
So
No,
the
no.
plan would also be at the associates meeting and via email to give them the tools to be successful. Say, share it on your Facebook. Here's some sample posts, or your Twitter. Here's a way you can bring it up in email or to your friend or whatever. So hopefully giving them the tools to be successful, giving everybody grid cards, with the schedule on it, giving them the tools to be successful, hopefully. We did figure it out. I think if we did the whole total of 22,000 by the number of current active air shifters, it came out to, I think, what did we say, 7, 300, is that right?
Something like that,
seven,
something
yeah.
like that.
So it'd be
Yeah.
like everybody would need 7 new members or renewal members, so $40 or up. And so there was some talk of going back and forth and making it lower, so it was absolutely achievable, or making it higher, so we would overshoot the goal. Of course, some people pay more than the $40, so those are things that committee's talking about.
I don't know that you've been here when I've raised this point before, so
Yeah.
it seems important.
Sure.
As we approach people, when we write letters and things, are we starting out by thanking them for previous generosity? Because I know we've lost, I've had multiple people come to me in the past and say, they just started off saying, hey we need money, give us money, and not in any way acknowledge that we just gave a bunch of money.
Right. I do, personally, I think things handled with tact are better, handling things nicer, softer. Not softer necessarily, but with a little bit more finesse. So hopefully in the letter, it will come across that way. We will have some people maybe that haven't given money, like the U of I staff that we're building the list with. Maybe they have a separate letter, I don't know. But I know that the committee and a couple of board members are starting to look at that letter, so we can always compare that. But I agree, I think it should come from, thank you for supporting WEFT, or
Yes.
supporting
Bingo.
your
That's it.
community radio station. So I agree, I think that's
And
important.
while I don't think I was keenly aware of when the committee meetings were, if I could if you'd like extra eyes on the letter, I'd be happy to look
Sure.
at it.
Yeah, I think the more the merrier. Vicky, I know it was kind of, well, maybe not the more, but it was that one that we had,
Right,
so I changed it to not talk about the holidays.
Good idea.
You know, but if you wanted to look, I know you've written so many in the past, you know, I would love for you to look at it again.
Okay, sure.
There was some talk about not seeming too, two-sided, but, you know, progressive enough, but not too progressive, so I know you've done that a lot, so.
Sure.
So are there any questions about pledge drive before, or art shows or any of that before you move on?
When is the Illinois Arts or the Bung Arts Festival?
April 7th, 8th, and 9th, I believe.
Okay.
I don't so much have a question as just to say, I think all the questions and concerns I've heard raised, I think you addressed all of them in your presentation, so thank you for being responsive.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And then, okay, so for this month for underwriting, I have two things I'm gonna read here, or look at. So one is the one that you guys have in your report. It was just like what I had done up to, you know, then, I guess. So Jeff Van Buren is renewing his show. He potentially might upgrade it to rotational, but he had to talk to his corporate staff or corporate
Who is he?
people. He works for Wells Fargo. He underwrote Bob Selby's show. While we're talking about Bob Selby, he is returning to WEFT. He has been released by his doctor to come back,
Good.
and he will be joining us, and we're really excited. So
What happened to Bob? I was wondering what happened.
he had some health stuff going on, so he couldn't be at WEFT, and he needed to really focus. But he is able to come back now. So
Because this last week I was thinking about him, wondering what
yeah,
happened.
he started subbing last week. He subbed a show,
Alright.
and he's coming back. We're excited.
I wouldn't mention this except that we're about to do the spinach run thing, but my only notice that something might be up with Bob is as I've been entering my playlist, I've noticed that Bob and Jose every week have duplicate playlists.
Oh.
And that's something that maybe one of them should be asked about before we are recording them.
Is
'Cause-
Okay.
Jose isn't still in the show, is he?
He is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, there are duplicate playlists for numerous dates for that time. And
Okay.
there aren't many people entering playlists at all for Mondays, so it really stands out
Yeah.
to both at 9 o'clock.
Okay, we'll look into it.
Okay.
Jose is
Bob
not
hasn't
always there. But.
Hosted a show for months and months.
Well, there are playlists in there
Yeah,
suggesting.
Britta hosts.
Britta has been, yeah. Well, I'll look into it. But thank you. Remind me if I don't.
Sure.
Jermaine, you say something?
Underwriting.
Underwriting. Okay.
Just
So-
on the schedule.
Yes.
Sorry. Jeff Van Buren is renewing Select a Show. He might upgrade. Living Yoga has become rotational underwriting. You'll start hearing their recording on the USB tomorrow, and their script will be in the book. Excuse me. Urbana Park District, they are becoming an underwriter. Theirs is a little tricky, but they're going to be a rotational underwriter between now and through May for one specific event in Evergreen, and for the event, we are an in-kind sponsor, so we're getting a lot of publicity for that. Our logos are running on all the printed materials, all their brochures that they mail out to every Urbana citizen, or so that's great. We're getting free booth space at their events. One of our own air shifters is hosting the folk show there. It's Kevin. He's graciously accepted it, so that's really exciting. So that'll be a lot of publicity, I guess, for WEFT. And then they are also going to do a second contract May through May, this May to next May, which will be also an in-kind, but also an evergreen rotational. So hopefully that'll be a pretty big contract. I was hopeful she would have me a final number by today for the first contract, but she said it would be this week, so hopefully tomorrow, but I'll get that to you. I typed a report that listed all of the underwriting that I have gotten since I have been here, or part of WEFT. I meant to email that and I forgot, but I can do that now. And just listing what they are, who's upgraded, who's renewed, whatever. So, and then the 100 letters, I've been following up on those. Harvest Market hopefully will become an underwriter. Really trying to push that one. With Neiman Foods, they are a local family that owns it. It's not a huge corporation, although they have lots. And then I've been trying to get World Harvest, that is also Strawberry Field. Like, it's the same owner, I suppose. So, following.
so.
Oh, yeah, it is now, his name is Muhammad. So I'm following up on those, so working through those, I will hopefully get worked through all of that list, this week is my goal, so.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah.
Don't blame Jerry.
Okay,
Alright,
now we get to, business. Yeah.
for all business, Spring Pledge Drive, that was it.
Oh, sorry.
And then we amended the agenda to cover, the PC committee during old business.
Oh, you mean Sandra's request?
No,
It's the
Barb's
election.
seat.
Barb seat has,
Yes.
Barb voted.
Well, actually, both of them we talked about.
Alright,
Well, no,
That's
Barb,
going under, that's in, closed session.
Right.
Sandra's gonna run through the member election.
No, Sandra's concerned about,
yes, that's.
The programming
that's
issue.
right.
So
I
we're
know
voting
Sandra's
for
running through that.
Okay, so,
So we're voting for Barb.
PC appointee, I guess candidates to be the PC appointee would be Barb. You have a statement to extend beyond what you posted in the station, Barb?
Now, I have been a member of the programming committee off and on for years. I forget the first time I was, but
I bet you everybody's gonna vote for you.
Let's
just
move
go
it along.
nominator.
Alright.
You accept.
because I could have gone on.
What I have for ballots is, do we want to
Just
approve
have people raise their hands. you
Barb by
know.
acclamation, actually?
We can do
Yeah.
that.
Does
let's
anybody
do that.
oppose?
No.
Alright.
We didn't have a second yet, did we?
Yeah, we haven't even seconded.
I'll
the
second.
nomination, so
Okay.
Does anybody oppose Barb's nomination? Alright, then she's approved by acclamation.
If you're sure we can do that, then okay.
Woo, way to go Barb.
Moving on.
And so that's a term of 2 years?
Gina
I think
found,
it's 3.
yeah, Gina found some stuff that says 2, and I think some that just says a year, not like 1 or 2,
I
it says a year.
put terms appointed by the board in 2 years.
Okay.
So let's just put that in the minutes so
think it's
that
a-
there is no question.
I
Yep.
think it's a sentence.
It
of
is
2
in
years.
Oh, 2019, God.
That's what scared me about being the treasurer.
Now on to new business.
I want my flying car.
First one is Board Resolution 2017-001, a resolution to institute the sexual harassment policy and procedure for WEFT. Statutory error. Has anybody looked over, any discussion?
Yeah.
We will go round robin through the first one, and then after that, Todd will control the speakers list. Let's start with Vicky.
And some.
Oh, sorry, let's start with, Andy, on my right.
Before we start, can I just ask, do we have a list here where, so, I saw in the packet there was a way to do a roll call, and I'm not
Yeah,
seeing that in any of my
On
paperwork.
the
here, so-
agenda, there's a.
So does anybody have a copy that I could use to check it off?
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, we're paperless now.
Well, yeah,
No.
but, and I printed a stack this
Okay.
big and don't have it, so.
Well, that's paperless.
Paperless is more wasteful than, okay, now I have a list in front of me.
Alright,
Round
So,
robin.
just comments on it, or just what I should pass, I'm happy to see that some of my, things that, simple wording changes I wanted, were made, so much more inclusive, that makes me happy. And other than that, I just see some punctuation of, minor issues like that, but that's essential.
Vicky,
I have no comment.
Mark.
2 comments. Is this, proposed by a committee?
This is, oh, yeah.
If not, I guess we need a motion to, that's all I'm saying.
Vicky, could I glance at
Make
your
it proper.
Okay.
And the other thing is, with these resolutions, where do they reside? That somebody 5 years from now will be able to remember or refer to it.
We're gonna have them in the, they're gonna be part of the, electronically, the Google Drive, and then we're also going to start having them put in the public file.
I would say that as soon as they get passed, I put everything on my archive.
Right.
Which whenever I'm no longer at WEFT, I'll be passing over to someone else so that they can run and that they'll be access to.
And then they'll go in the public file as well, that way.
Yeah,
Historically,
print copy in the public file so people
Yeah.
have access and additional.
historically, things like this get passed and then they get forgotten about. and-
They live in the minutes, and then
Exactly.
the minutes get filed, and God knows where you can
That's
see any of that.
Okay.
Where are the archives at, Andy?
So WEFT archives is WordPress, and then there's also the upstairs that I've been working on arranging and doing stuff with.
But we talked about adding an easy link from the homepage to the
Yes,
archive.
yeah,
That'd be good, yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, I think, and we'll talk to, Lori about this, I think it'd be good to probably, in the government section of the website, have a resolution thing or something.
Right.
Might be good even to have a policy manual, to have a binder that has
No,
board policy in it.
Yeah, so in the office, I printed one, but we didn't keep it, yeah.
Well, I mean, when I first got elected, we got a binder of everything, so I don't
You
think
get,
we.
you get a binder of the board SOP, the bylaws.
But we should have something in the office.
Yeah.
We do have a binder in the office we put together. We printed all the SOPs, the bylaws, everything from the governance website.
Okay.
For the, yeah, we've printed all that. So that's there so we could add the resolutions.
Is it like
Alright,
hot pink or
let's,
something so we can find it?
Keep going.
Alright. Barb,
I, think this is great. I have no real comment. My only question is that if you've got somebody who's an idiot like me and makes comments that are not serious or not to be taken seriously, and the person that they're making the comments to knows that, as opposed to people who don't know that, can I still get in trouble?
If somebody felt
So,
sexually
you know, if I'm
harassed.
talking about Todd being a stud and station in the middle of the night, and
well, we all accept that as true and move on.
But if Todd was uncomfortable, yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
So
yeah,
is there some sort of a way to
like, know what's appropriate.
know what's appropriate and to keep things, have a level so that it doesn't go from a discussion between me and Todd to, the board?
So from my research, it was anything that, if anybody ever felt sexually harassed and they brought it to either the station manager or board chair, it doesn't matter if you thought it was sexual harassment or anybody else at the table, as long as that person felt harassed.
Okay.
So you just have to make sure that you're not, making inappropriate comments or things that would be not appropriate in a workplace.
Okay,
If,
because,
if it would reassure Barb, I'm comfortable with her calling me a stud,
Put
but
that in the minutes.
I think it is a good question as a hypothetical.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
Yes.
we can certainly put together something for the board, or what is sexual harassment, so people are aware, but anything,
yeah, because,
anything that you would not say to a coworker at a paid job,
Right.
tentatively it should not be said at work.
That's true.
Well, if I may,
Or
isn't
good
it-
information for the WWE.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm mindful that this is not closed session, so I'll try to be diplomatic in how I said it. It seems like the gray area is the times that someone would not be comfortable himself or herself saying stop
Right.
are the times that it becomes a gray area.
Right.
Because anytime it's not so uncomfortable that it has to go through a third party,
Right.
then Barb would know that she's over the line.
Right.
But
Right.
if somebody's not even comfortable saying, whoa, I'm not
yeah.
comfortable speaking up, that's when
Right.
this policy
Okay.
kicks in.
Laney?
Here's another,
Well,
comment that you should consider, in.
Hold on, Mark, after you go through real quick.
Well, everybody else is talking, so
I
in
haven't had my
section
turn yet.
7,
Hey,
Let Mark say what he's
Seven
gonna
B,
say.
C, and D, you're referencing certain specific sections of the board SOP, 4.4.1.1, et cetera.
yeah.
Okay, if those ever change, then you have to remember to go back and change those.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
that's a recipe for failure there,
Yeah.
so, generalize that or something.
Laney,
Yes.
comments?
Oh, no, I emailed you edits,
Yeah.
if those were there.
Yeah, those have been put into that.
Nope.
Okay, Denise?
No comment at this time.
Well, I think the, under what is sexual harassment, that it is not clear enough, all that could be construed as, sexual harassment. So I do think that that actually needs to be expanded. But I don't have the language for it, but I'd like to I'd like to see some,
You want it expanded.
yes. I want it more clear. I don't want it just in the
Perhaps with a couple
WWE or.
examples or
Yeah,
something.
something.
Just
I wanna look.
points of like, example, colon, blah, 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 blah. If so said this to you.
Well, like,
this
like one
situation.
thing that isn't in here is, getting too close to people. You know, that's not a favor, a joke, or a comment.
Personal space.
You know,
That's
Yeah.
true.
Personal, yeah.
It
That
is.
a good point.
You know, it's physical conduct of a sexual nature, maybe not, but you know, if.
But,
So I
yeah,
think in there,
personal space.
it does say, like, anything that makes you uncomfortable with sexual nature. So, you know,
And in where it says it.
I don't have it.
I think it could possibly, if it is, even be
Right,
restated.
right. So
Just
as
to
long,
make that
yeah.
more clear.
Yeah.
Because it's certainly true that some people, like, some really big people can intimidate other people.
Right.
Some people may use that against.
Right,
people,
certainly.
just
So I,
their
yeah.
size or that type of thing.
So I
The
think you
space
could,
is
I
an
think we
issue.
could probably add some, some examples or more details in there, but as long as you make sure it's somewhat open-ended to say, if there's any, any other behaviors that make you uncomfortable can be brought to the attention.
Okay, Andrew?
I do really have.
I wasn't done.
Oh,
Sorry. And then on, in the event that the HRC is inactive, on page 3 of it, it says the role of the panel, which should be filled by a member of the HRC, shall be filled by a non-executive committee member of the board. Why is it non-executive committee member?
Because.
Where are you?
On the 3rd page of the document, that's,
It's right up suggested that.
Under heading 2,
The thought behind that was that we as board members could be seen as, being too much looking after WEF's thing and not as objective. Looking under.
why would a
WEF's.
non-executive committee member of the board be better than a committee member of the board?
Exactly, because us as executive committee, we are kind of more the legal representative of the station. And I think that I was trying to keep that separate. So if you don't agree with that, you know.
Well, the executive committee is not currently working as the general manager, essentially, right, then it would make sense that if you had someone that essentially was in charge of it.
Why?
Just to have do the outside perspective perhaps, or one is because he's pointing out that at least press associates and staff would feel more comfortable, at least making sure that like, they're not like, there's not a cabal, if there's a cabal, there's another person that's not in the cabal, or like, there's not.
So this is
it's not
in the
just
event,
executive
who's gonna be on the
committee.
HRC? It's people who are on the board, right? Am I right or not?
It's both, right?
The chair is required to be, however, you can recruit people from off the board.
Okay, so we currently don't have anybody. So
That's not
this,
true.
well, who do we have? We don't have anybody besides Andy. So we have a board member who has, we
A committee of one.
do not.
And many of the station managers also
Yeah.
on this with me.
Non-voting member.
True, I mean like.
A non-voting member
There
of the
are actually
HRC.
two people.
Well, I'm not supposed to vote anything, but if I'm on it with her, I can have the discussion.
Okay.
And make
All right,
make
so this
suggestions.
is, in essence, right now, the HRC is inactive. We don't
In
have.
essence, yes.
Yes, okay.
Totally.
So, I just don't see why, it just does not make sense to me, if it's inactive, why I couldn't be on it, if I wanted to. I don't understand why I couldn't, as the executive director. I mean, the executive directors are the people who are liable for the HR stuff, I mean, it's us that are gonna be hung out to dry so why wouldn't we be
Well,
able to
and,
be on it?
and later on in the process, it comes to the board, the appeals and these kind of things come to the board. So, in essence, it's also an attempt to try to keep duplication from happening and to keep some neutrality in the system.
so you're not appealing to the same person who made.
Who already made the decision.
That's the whole board, though, that's not just the executive committee. There's no reason, you haven't given me a reason yet why it would be the executive committee would be eliminated from that. There's no reason for it.
So could it just be, could it say any member of the board? Or for the HRC, a member of the board, not board chair, or vice chair? In case there was a tie or something, maybe there needs to be one person who cannot be included, and then members of WEFT, associates.
So if it's inactive, I would say, all of a sudden the board chair is the person, but no executive committee. It just doesn't make sense to me, so I don't want it to be some nonsensical it just doesn't make sense.
The board chair is executive committee, so.
Yeah, so then why wouldn't the rest of the executive committee be just as eligible if they're the one? I don't wanna eliminate somebody who has HR experience, who has HR knowledge, just because they're on the executive committee. I don't see any reason to. I think we should pick who we wanna be on the HR committee by who has experience and is willing to do it, and not by whether or not they're treasurer or secretary.
And there's not that many board members who aren't on the
That
executive
was
committee.
when it's my turn, I wanna.
Okay.
So, those are my comments, and see if that was all. I think that's all. So I'd like better language on the, description of sexual harassment, and I'd like that struck. That's my comments.
Alright then, mine, I didn't have a whole lot to add, but given what Mark, you were saying about should we ever alter some parts of the SOP that affect this, can we eventually put some sort of annotation in the SOP referring back to this so if that ever happens?
That's one more thing that needs to be changed.
Well, the SOP,
Complicates it, yeah.
the section SOP that references this, actually, that is policy. So, you could say it's already
So
there.
can we say that it's the policy, it's this policy in these words instead of saying section 4.4. Whatever?
No, I mean, you have to reference the SOP in this to refer to the appeals process. What I'm saying is in section 4.1. Whatever, there's already a reference to this policy. So changing one or the other, you already would be keyed to that the other exists and is tied together. That's what I'm saying, is they're already referenced in both documents.
Alright,
Is it my turn?
Count on that.
yes.
Okay. Three, what I hope will be short comments. I'll start with the shortest. Is there any reason we have an ellipsis at one point? Is that just, volunteer staff, intern, guests, etc.?
That was part of one of my minor grammatical issues.
Well, you mentioned punctuation. I didn't know if it was like a legal or intellectual reason for the
Are we
ellipsis.
referring to a certain place?
Yeah.
Fourth paragraph.
Above what is sexual harassment, there's an ellipsis, and it looks like something's. I didn't know if we could just. Again, I didn't know if it changed the meaning at all. I don't want to dwell on that because it seems like it's not important.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Right here, there's an ellipsis, and it just
After
looks like
etc.
messy
Oh, okay.
punctuation, but I didn't know if there
It
was
is
a
messy
deliberate reason
punctuation.
for it. Right. Number two, I actually. Should I go on?
Yeah.
Okay, I actually think the non-EC member thing is good, but the concern I have about it is okay, now we know Sandra is running for re-election, but if Mark is not running for re-election, we're gonna have a total of 3 people on the board who are not EC, and I think we should have some kind of clause for if the board simply does not have non-officers, because we have already more officers than non-officers, which is not how it's supposed to be. So I would like it to say, like, it would initially be a non-EC member unless there aren't any. Does that make sense? And obviously there are different opinions on that. The third thing, honestly, it seems like there are so many issues with people being confused by things that were not in previous drafts I've seen of this. I was gonna suggest we table it and actually have paper copies of this next month so we can actually know what we're discussing rather than everybody having to pass it around, because even if we're paperless on the agenda, I think we all need to be able to look at this to know what we're approving, and we can't do that tonight.
Well, I thought this was something that was gonna be discussed by the EC before being brought to the board.
We did at one point, but it was
We did,
early in the
okay.
process. It's been amended since then, so.
I think maybe it would be best, I think, for the associates to get a look at and vote on it before we do laws.
Associates aren't voting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not.
That's not the plan.
I think this is going to take the duration of the rest of the meeting, and I simply don't think we're prepared to make an informed decision, as many differences as we seem to have on it, and as many things as are unclear. So I guess I'd make a motion to table it until next month and not wait to bring it up again until the next board meeting.
Well, can we table it to the next executive committee?
I'm good with that, too.
Because Sandra was there, so would be part of that discussion, and we can bring it back to the board after having that, and then
That's what I'm
very
thinking.
much fewer
That's a good
details.
idea.
Because honestly, the EC not meeting this month is one reason. I think it's kind of a
Yeah,
surprise.
I
So
agree.
I would respectfully motion that we table this and not spend more time on it tonight, because obviously people have some concerns about it.
What do we have to operate in it? Like, we still have some type of policy.
What do we, as long as we still have the previous, banning the next month.
We still have the anti-sexism.
Right.
Okay, good, I just wanna make sure that we still.
And I think we've got federal law.
Yeah.
We really should,
Do I need a
But
second
in
to
all
table it?
honesty,
Yep.
if somebody wanted to bring a suit against us, the
Right.
main thing that they would be able to say is they don't have a good policy.
Right.
That's the truth.
So do I have a second for my motion?
Yes.
Okay, Barb was first.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It is tabled. We want to just go ahead and table the next associated resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
Are there similar issues
I
with this?
think you need to.
Yeah.
It's dying.
I couldn't hear you over the public.
I was gonna make a motion that we just combine the two board
Okay.
resolutions on.
Okay, that sounds
sexual
smart.
harassment, which should be tabled for further discussion at the committee meeting and then board meeting.
I would second that if I need to.
Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. For resolution 003.
Whose motion is this? Or is it a motion? If it's not, I guess we can move on.
I was just curious, as I said, why are we needing to vote on that? Why did this come up?
Well, I think first,
It was already passed.
is there a motion? If there's not, we don't need to discuss something that's not a motion.
It's a resolution, but if
Well,
the
it
whole,
doesn't mean anything.
if the whole board doesn't like it, then we need to say, no, it shouldn't be
Somebody
changed.
has to move it.
Okay, I'm
before we
gonna
can
move
discuss
that
it.
we discuss this resolution.
I'll second that.
Okay.
That is,
The one that's.
PR
The one that you weren't at the meeting.
2017 003.
Right.
003.
Mm-hmm.
alright, that was first
So-
moved by,
I have a question.
who was, I didn't hear, who motioned to?
Sandra motioned to discuss it, and I seconded her motion.
Okay.
Alright, so round robin.
So, I guess,
Vicky.
so we skip Andy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Round robin starting with Vicky.
Well, Vicky is.
Was this,
Call
the
on
The
motion,
motion was to discuss it.
the motion is to discuss, or the motion is to move it?
Can I motion to discuss it?
I seconded that motion,
Yeah, I thought we
We're
already.
discussing it.
so Vicky's been called on.
Okay, so my question is, why is this being brought up?
That was my question.
And my question would be, why was this the focus of an entire meeting 2 years ago? Why was it important then if it's not important now?
I mean, literally though, why is,
Because,
who asked for it to come
so
up?
Jermaine, explain why. You're the one who wanted it, and it makes sense to me when you explained it.
Right. So at this point, if somebody were to run for the board through the member process, you could have one person vote for themselves or for themselves. 20 people abstain and the 4 wins.
There were no abstentions. There was not a box for abstention on that last member election form.
That's right.
And furthermore, the same is true if somebody's running from this board.
No.
One person could vote for it, the other remaining could abstain, they would be elected.
They need a majority.
that would be 1-0 to 7 or.
But you
We
also,
have the
but
right
you also in that situation have the option for against.
Yeah.
Which that option does not exist in these member elections, the way the language is currently written.
Well, it's written pretty half-assed, but my thing, I don't think you say, okay, you're running for something, you've got one person voting for you, you've got a whole bunch of people abstaining, you've got one person voting against you, so that gives you a -1 and a +1, which gives you 0, which means that you don't get elected. I don't think that's right. I don't think that voting against somebody should be counted as a -1. I think if you've got one person voting yes, and 10 people voting no, then the person should not be elected, but I don't think that this whole, we're going to count everything as a negative, and you can end up with a -10 count.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, if somebody's voting against you, it's voting against you.
But the one person could vote for themselves, and so it's actually nobody voting for them.
Right, we're saying it doesn't even matter what anybody else votes. If Sarah Palin moves to Illinois and pays WEFT $40 and votes for herself, the whole rest of the station can do nothing to keep her off the board.
Well,
Even if they
I
vote
just
no.
don't, I don't like the way it's worded, I don't like the idea.
Well, this is actually the language that Mark and Abby and one other person wrote a few years ago. What? Yes, yes. So this is not like new language that suddenly got sneaked in by a Russian cabal or.
Well, that was for a really specific situation, as I recall.
And
Explain it to us, so I know.
Randall Cotton
Yeah.
was running for the board
Yeah.
and lots of people didn't want him.
Right.
Well, for
So-
good reason.
And
So we created this system.
which allowed,
And we looked at lots of different voting systems.
Uh-huh.
And we arrived at this one, and where you could vote for or against someone. And we used this, assigning plus or -1 or.
Right.
And, that's what we implemented.
Right, otherwise, if nobody, if people just didn't turn their ballots back in, because
Yeah.
it's a,
It didn't count as anything. Right.
uh-huh,
And it did at the time raise a lot of controversy, lots of people commented about it. Most, I would say, were vocal against it. I mean, people who were
Against
for it,
what?
against that
Being able
system.
to vote against.
Against that
Although if
method
it
of
interests
voting.
anybody, I have a stack. These were the objections that we got when we rescinded that or modified it. And they all came in within 48 hours before the meeting when we finally announced it, because nobody previously knew that we were going to do that.
So for clarification, what are we trying to change it to?
The
To
way it
not
was-
vote against?
The resolution is to simply give people a yes or no vote. Now they can only vote yes. That's the only way they're allowed to vote, and it only takes one.
Or they abstain.
There is but the point is, if
Right.
there's no
Of just
point in
the
having an
member.
election,
If you can only vote
right,
once.
because
Okay.
we took away people's right to vote anyway, but yes, is what
Okay,
we
for
did.
the member elect.
Right, and
Right.
they can vote no in every other election we have,
So you
but
just want it to
But
be
that's not-
universal
that's-
across the board, like,
No.
yes, no, abstaining for all, okay. now-
because otherwise we wouldn't even need to tally the other elections, because we'd already know the result before, if you have a candidate, they're automatically elected.
So Barb, how you were saying, like, you could say yes or no and have negatives, if for member elect, you could say yes or nothing, right? So you couldn't have the negatives, like you said, you couldn't vote against them for member elect, not like for the board or anything.
right now, we can vote against people.
No,
No,
We
not for
can't
member
vote
we
elect.
can
against
only
them.
vote yes. in
Yes or
member
nothing.
elections.
It's not like how you vote.
And I'll tell you, it says in that, we previously had 168 recorded ballots when people could vote yes or no. We only even had 77 ballots under the new policy because there was no reason for people to even buy a stamp.
So you could just say yes.
You were only allowed to say yes, or you were not allowed to vote.
That's not the way voting works, though.
Well, that's what Todd's saying, is that you don't get yes or no, you just get yes or nothing.
Right. There's no point in even holding an election if people are only allowed to vote one way.
Yes.
It effectively disenfranchises the
But
members.
here's the thing though, if you, and this is a broad issue with WEFT in general, is that in most elections, you have more than one candidate.
Right.
So you can vote for this candidate, or you can vote for the other candidate, and the one with the most votes wins.
Right.
In WEFT elections, we're lucky if we get a candidate.
But
it's like the recent, look at the recent vote for Attorney General, for Betsy DeVos for school, education. They didn't just say she's the only nominee, we will only accept yes votes for her. There was a very strong opposition to her because not everybody was okay with that. And I'm saying if we have a candidate like Betsy DeVos, and people feel very strongly both ways, we shouldn't only count the yes votes and say you're not allowed to vote no just because she's the only nominee.
Imagine if Randall Cotton somehow was able to run again or approach the station legally.
I will say, I'm not comfortable holding up specific lefties and former
I'm actually not
lefties.
either.
But
the
the-
policy should be made on that ground.
I'm saying, I don't understand why, for every other election at WEFT, people are elected, well, I mean, as Barb said in her email, the board didn't care for people being able to vote against us. I don't think it's relevant if the board doesn't want people to be able to vote against us. I don't think we're royalty. And that's why I stood before the associates recently and said, I'm running, but, I expected to be vetted. I just don't understand why this is the one category of elections where people are only allowed to vote the correct way and not any other way.
But I think with board elections though, here after tonight, we will have less than half of our seats filled.
Right.
Why are we wanting to make this harder? I think anybody who's willing to serve on this board, who wants to contribute,
I disagree.
should be able to do it.
I don't.
I can see.
If they don't have the mission of WEFT, if we don't feel like they have the mission of WEFT, right, and when we vet them or whatever you wanna say, I wanna be able to vote against them.
If they don't have the members' confidence, if there's some giant red flag, I think they ought to have the right to downvote someone.
Sandra said it better than I could.
Yeah, Andy?
I had to ask my initial question, I have my opinion. We're going to take a vote on this.
This 6241 and the new language, the returning language, whatever, when ballots are counted, each for vote counts positive 1 point for the candidate. Each against vote counts as a negative point for the candidate. And abstentions count as 0 points. That is fine if you've only got one candidate and you don't want them. But if you've got two candidates, whichever one gets the most votes wins.
No, because there are 2 seats.
Well, if you have 3 candidates, then whoever the 2 gets most votes wins.
Yes,
This is only valid if you've only got one candidate.
No, we did this with 5 candidates, and 4 of them got elected as a result. We used this for years, and it was not, it worked for years, and then we got rid of it. I even have the vote totals to show previous elections that did this. Nobody finished with a negative total. Nobody,
If we somehow.
it simply empowered people to weigh in.
Yeah.
Either way.
Right.
Just a thought, we could do, what's called ranked choice voting.
The order of preference on everyone?
Yeah.
That actually might be a good idea. And if you've got one person,
But then how do you vote against somebody?
Put a 0.
Yeah, but
Right,
there's only
zero.
one,
That's
if
it.
there's only one person on it, then you're back to the same problem.
Yeah.
You should be able to
Yeah.
vote no. You
Yeah.
would just do ranked choice and vote no.
I could see maybe ranked choice if there are more candidates than there are seats,
Right.
but it wouldn't be necessary otherwise.
All I really can
You
say
could
is
have, instead of having a voting against, you could have a box that says no candidate.
we had quite a few people ask us not to do this. We did it anyway, and as we're preparing for the next member election, people could save a lot of money if there's no point in voting, but I feel like if the old system worked and people asked us not to change it, we should consider, it seems easier going back to what worked than coming up with some third
Well,
system.
to be fair, Todd, that pile of paper you have there isn't all, people complaining against, the change to the new voting system.
What else did you see here?
Well, I saw,
Vote totals.
well, I saw.
In the reply, yeah.
I saw emails from 2010. So,
I think only because somebody was correcting somebody about negative totals.
So if it was used to not let, to avoid somebody becoming a board member.
Which I don't support it for that.
Right, but so for that person, they didn't get a single yes vote, so they weren't on the board?
The hypothetical we're talking about never ran.
Oh, okay, so, okay.
And
didn't know.
I actually am offended by the idea of using it
For what?
punitively against a specific person.
Right.
But
Or to-
I'm also, as an associate elected board member, against the idea that we would take away people's voting rights
Sorry.
or tell them that they can only vote one way. That is where it's salient to me.
I'm gonna make a motion that we take a vote on this.
I will second that.
So you're moving to.
I'm moving
She's calling
to
the,
pass
she's
it.
calling the question.
I am.
Okay, am I first? I'm first on the list here.
That's just basically get rid of the
yeah.
newer
So when we're
We go
voting
back to
for it,
the
we're
rules
voting
as
to be able
before,
to
yes.
vote against somebody, so.
Yeah, I want to do that.
So a yes vote is to allow people to vote yes or no again.
Yes.
Okay, so I am first, I will vote to, I will vote yes to go back to the old language. Sandra?
Real quick question,
Yes.
you seconded this vote?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Sandra motioned both times and I seconded it both times. Okay, I said yes, Sandra? How do you vote?
Oh, yes.
Okay, Andrew?
I vote yes.
Okay, Andy?
Yes.
Okay, Denise?
She just went to the bathroom.
Can we come back to Denise?
Yeah.
I don't think Denise realized that we were,
She didn't.
so do we wait or do we come back to her?
Just come back.
Okay, Mark?
No.
Okay.
There's Denise.
Okay, Barb?
I'm gonna abstain because now
Listen, Fred,
I just
Barb
had to get a
abstains.
drink.
And Denise, we are voting and you are the only one who has not voted.
I thought I said yes.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
not on your.
It
Well,
wasn't
you
during
said
the
yes
meeting,
now.
it
Was it your turn?
Oh,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Laney does not get to vote. Jermaine, you may vote if you wish.
Yay.
Okay, so the total, we have 6 yeses, 1 abstention, and 2 noes. So it passes 6 to 2 to 1.
It needs 2/3, which means 6 in the yay is affirmative, and therefore it's okay.
Okay,
So then we'll change the letter in the ballot that goes up.
Alright,
alright, what's next?
somebody remind me what we changed, what 4 was?
Somebody's gonna change the procedure, and I would add, there's a section in the back of the procedure that is, summarizes all the changes made, and also summarizes the basis for those changes.
You're the
I'm just gonna
secretary.
take care of that. Okay, good.
The 2015 board SOP?
Yes,
Yeah, it's on Web Archive.
Somebody
I
remind
know
me,
it is, but somebody's gotta change
somebody
it.
remind me
Oh,
what
sure, I see,
number
yeah.
4 in your business became?
It was, what new business? Joe Lex request to use Lefty.
Okay.
And so this wife is one who designed Webby, and that it's not going to be used for profit.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second,
All in
Thank
favor?
you.
Barb,
Just-
did you make
just Any discussion?
I would say if they design the logo, they should have the right to use the logo they designed unless they're using it to disparage web.
So, okay, so we have a motion, a second, any more discussion?
If approved, Barb was gonna make a connection so we could highlight it and make that relationship. If
Make
necessary,
it what?
if appropriate.
Yeah,
To make it what?
make that relationship
Relationship
with
and
Joe
highlight.
Oh, relationship, that was all I
Okay.
thought you said election.
So one of the things I'm going to do, as you've seen resolutions numbered tonight,
I seconded.
I wanna be able to do that with all resolutions that we pass, all votes we have, basically excluding like approval of agenda minutes, treasurer report, standard fare, and also like procedural votes.
You wanna be able to do what with them?
Give them the resolution numbers, like,
Oh, yes, I like that. We tried to do that before, we should do that again.
so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna draft a resolution, basically stating what Barb said, because he's not doing it for for-profit reasons. And does anybody else have any points they wish to include in a resolution like that?
Well, whatever you say ought to say the same thing that Andrew says in the minutes, that's all.
Sure, sure.
Okay,
Oh, I think I gave you my stuff too.
so this is a resolution to allow Joe Lex to use WEFT,
Okay, I think that's.
for his, what is his
For his
project?
logo, for his,
Internet radio.
online internet radio show.
For his logo, for his online radio show.
And I've been going to talk to him about it, but I think we could get that, I think we could add his show to our non-on-air web stuff that's broadcast on the podcast page or whatever.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to do that, but Sandra, you can fix that. Cause you know how to do that.
Okay.
Could we do this by acclamation? Since it doesn't seem like a controversial or.
Yeah. Does anybody have any objections? Alright, acclamation is. Alright, I need a
Well, are we?
motion to
Yes.
go and.
No, we got the legal ID.
So did we just approve it?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I make a motion that we amend how we say our legal ID to include Urbana and surrounding area after Champaign. So you would say WEFT 90.1 FM, Champaign, Urbana, and surrounding area,
90.1 has to come last.
okay?
Now,
This is
it's
not close
WAFT,
Champaign.
Champaign, Urbana, and surrounding areas, 90.1. That doesn't make sense, but
Well, I don't think you have to have a 90.
Legal ID is WEFT.
Champaign. So it would be WEFT, Champaign, Urbana, and surrounding areas is what Sandra's proposed.
So this doesn't change the legal ID, we're just adding a little parsley after it.
A required parsley, right?
Well,
On their shoulders.
we can talk about it, you know, I just think if we can do it, we might as well do it. It's more inclusive of the whole area. We obviously, you know, I think actually part of a little bit of our perception is that we are a little separate from Urbana. You know, that it's kind of is more champagne-y kind of thing.
Are you
And-
feeling lonely out there?
No, I just think we ought to take
No, I'm
advantage of
always,
it.
you know, I'm an urbanite too, or an urbanite or whatever, and of course, and I'm always
Well, the rest
pushing
of,
Urbana
you know, I
and,
mean, it's interesting,
so
you
I'm
know,
all for it.
places that are located, if you listen to commercial radio around here, they're often, in Rantoul or Tuscola, you apparently can't get your license in Champaign very easily, because a lot of them will say WBXJ of, Rantoul, Champaign, and Urbana, you know, they'll always do that. And, so why not have us included? And we don't have to vote on it tonight, I wanted to bring it up to, maybe we could come up with what we really do wanna say to make it, you know, that's not very fancy, the surrounding area.
Just a minute, what would you want the thing to be?
Hold on, we need a second since there was a motion.
second,
Alright.
Okay.
What does the FCC say
Yeah.
about that? I thought it was a requirement that our
Has to, according to the NFCB, who had a discussion about it this week online,
okay,
that it has to say where you are at first, or whatever. We have to say Champaign first, but then we can say a string of whatever we want.
Which is, right, which
okay,
is
right, which is what we've always done before. So to expand on that, so if the board says this new thing is our legal ID, the FCC isn't gonna come back on us if people don't say it. So if that's true, then how do we police whether or not people say it?
I don't know that as long as you get your legal, we need to explore it maybe further, because I thought as long as you had it in there, you didn't change your legal ID, you were just embellishing it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so it would, as far as the FCC is concerned, WEFT Champaign remains the legal
Right,
ID, and
right.
they're not going to require
Right.
anything beyond.
Right.
Do you want me to
Let's
start a
say-
speakers list, or? Cause I'm seeing lots of hands,
Hasn't
and
worked all
it's
night, so let's just-
8:57, so.
Let's just do-
I kinda threw my hands up on that one, is that wrangling has not worked out, so.
I can wait until Wayne and Andrew are done.
No, you're right. I was just saying Gina might have some input as well as PC chair. It's in terms of how to police it or how to enforce it or encourage lefties to do it, since it wouldn't be our legal ID, but it'd be the required embellishment, I guess. A WEFT required embellishment. Gina might have some, or people
Let's
to
put it in the
research more.
hands of the PC.
I like that.
And
Yeah,
ask them to
research it more.
research it.
Gina would be good at that.
If I could throw out just one thing, I already say, usually when I'm doing web sessions, I'll say Champaign, Urbana, Savoy, Pasodum, and I am a big advocate of including other communities, but I feel very strongly in favor if it's voluntary. I feel not so strongly in favor if we're suddenly mandating that people say something other than art. So if it's something that people are encouraged to do, I think it's a great idea. If it's something people have to do, I'm not so, I think.
Well, it would be up on the place with the window, just like it, you know.
Well, as I said, I think it's something people should be open to doing and should be encouraged to do. I just don't know that I like making people do it.
We talk about it at training.
Right.
So, you know, this is what you have to say.
Well, the Champaign,
And
yes.
this is what you can add.
Exactly.
And offer suggestions.
Right. So.
Well, I think most of the time people just read it, and I think that if we had it up there for it to be more broader, that people would say it, you know, and that it would be bring some life into the station.
I guess the other concern I have is, you know, if we say WEFT Champaign, people know where to find us. If we say Champaign, Urbana, you know, then they show up at WRFU, where they show up, you know, and they're like.
Particularly if they're from out of town, so they
Exactly.
don't know which is, like, what's a bigger city than others, or like, anything about the nature of the towns.
I do know some people, especially, I hear Denise all the time, they say, WEFT, Champaign, available, you know, catch us online, Urbana, you know, the surrounding areas available for this radius.
All right, Sandra, will you make your motion to move this off?
Yes.
All right, who did the second?
I'll second.
Well, who did the second?
I think previously that.
Yeah.
Okay, you accept the amendment?
Absolutely, because I think that's a good idea.
Can we do that by acclamation?
Yeah, sure.
Got it. Okay, now we need a roll call to move into closed session. Well, I need a motion.
Right.
To move into closed
Motion to
session.
close.
And I'm afraid we may have to, say goodbye.
Okay.
My motion to move to closed session.
Don't be afraid.
Second,
And do you wanna?
Second to move to closed session.
I need a roll call to move into closed session.
Oh, okay, I will say yes.
Just a second.
Sandra?
Yes.